Hey, Battalion Nation.
We have a live show on location.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have trouble getting 2 points.
Brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages. Hey fans, we're at the Fox Fiddle for episode 11 of Troops Trio, brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad. Tonight's guest is Lirim Amidovski, and I'm going to head it over right now to your host, Matt Sookram.
Thank you, AJ. Troops Trio is also proudly sponsored by the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Moose Cookhouse, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight. And we thank our host for not only sponsoring the show, but letting us take over the place for a while. I'm joined, as always, by Ranjan Rupal and Bob Coles. Guys, we've got a lot to talk about this week. First of all, we want to thank the viewers, as always, for watching on the Battalion YouTube page. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and share this with everyone you know. And we want to thank the listeners for tuning in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever they get their favorite podcasts. We've got several guests on today's show, including, as AJ said, Lirim Amidovski. We'll also hear from Ryan Olahan in our Coffee with Coaches segment. James Richmond, the coach and GM of the Brampton Steelheads, will also be on the show a little bit later. And as well, always, we've got our Troops Trio trivia question later on. I nailed it that time. Bob, Ranjan, Troops went 1-2 on the weekend. Let's dive right in. What are your guys' thoughts on how they played over the weekend? They beat Sarnia at home before going on the road and losing to the Bulldogs in regulation and then Niagara in overtime.
Well, I think they got some momentum this week. They won a tight game against Sarnia at home on Thursday, and Sarnia really impressed me with the coaching change. You know, they kept the game tight, and both teams played really disciplined, and it was a tight one-goal win for North Bay. They're in the deep end, though, Saturday in Brantford. Brantford just 2 regulation losses all year so far. They're a strong team, so they saw the best of the Bulldogs for sure. And then on Sunday, you know, not a lot of rest between Saturday afternoon, evening, and then having to play early on Sunday. They got some injuries on Saturday. Cam Warren, Enright as well, also went down, and they didn't play on the weekend with a couple of other guys, Callie and Pronin. So they were missing some big pieces, I think. Not a lot of rest, but they rallied, and they really were unfortunate, I thought, not getting the 2 points. Yermolenko was the OHL goalie of the week. He played awfully well for the Ice Dogs, and as Jack Lisson did for the Battalion, but it was a 1-1 game, and then it went into overtime, and the Ice Dogs got the extra point. But a fair week, I guess, is the best way to put it for the Troops.
3 points in 3 games. Usually that's not a bad weekend, but certainly when the game rolls out the way it did against Niagara, you probably want that extra point.
Yeah, but it's a road game, and it's the 3rd game of the weekend. So you said it was a 1-2 record. It's actually a 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, there you go.
So
splitting hairs, but you're right.
It sounds
Sounds better that way.
It is better, and it's 3 points out of 3, and so they continue to build. And I like when they get in these low-scoring games like that Sarnia game, because you got to know how to win those games and close them out. And you know that overtime, over 3-on-3 is not really overtime. When you get into playoffs, that's real overtime, and I'm pretty happy with the way they played. The whole Brantford thing, though, is important in one respect, because a lot of teams go into Brantford and they end up really getting beaten up by the Bulldogs, and that's going to be the way Brantford's going to be in the OHL finals for sure. But you get to benchmark against a team like that, and you get to, as a coaching staff, as a training staff, front office staff, players, get to see this is where we got to be next year. So what do we got to do to get from where we are now to get to that level so that we can be Eastern Conference champions next year when the Memorial Cup is in Guelph?
I also thought on Saturday there was coaching 101 by both Ryan Olahan and Jay McKee. Jay McKee didn't overplay his top guys just to pile up goals. And Coach Olahan also played everybody too that he could. And remember, he had those injuries to deal with. So I think it was some good coaching 101 techniques. Even though the game was, not a close one on the scoreboard, guys were still getting their opportunities on both teams. And Coach McKee was really using his depth to see how much depth he has for the playoff run he's going to have. And Coach Olahan put guys out against some good players. So it was a good educational game, I thought, for both teams, especially in the third period.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on the injuries in just a second, but we want to hear what head coach Ryan Olahan had to say about the weekend overall. And Bob, I know you had a chance to catch up with him and do that. So producer Gerald, can we hear head coach Ryan Olahan talking about the weekend that was for the North Bay Battalion?
Let's talk about the week that was. A win over Sarnia at home, a loss on Saturday, and a loss on Sunday as well, but you did get a point. I thought you had a pretty good Sunday matinee game in St. Catharines against Niagara. How do you look back at the week?
I think another weekend in which we feel like we're kind of moving the chains forward. We talked about we're kind of just over the hump of these road trips here. We had 3 pretty severe road trips in a row. We're now done 2 of them, with one coming up. So I thought it was important last weekend to really get off to a good start on that, Thursday night at home. And we did that. It was a tight game against Sarnia, but I do like, rewatching it, the way in which we played. We played a controlled game, kind of not too risky, high-end risk or anything like that. So liked our game at home against Sarnia. Had a day, to try to recover and get ready for Brantford. A little bit of a tough night in Brantford, and not just on the scoreboard watch, but we lost a couple players due to injury that game. It was really hard to kind of get in a rhythm, I found, just in that building. And we kind of see, the standard in the league right now with the Brantford Bulldogs, and there's areas where we can get better and be ready for them the next time. But then once again, we're able to kind of regroup, recover. We're right back at it Sunday afternoon. And I thought we probably deserved a little bit better fate in that game. It kind of came down to a bit of a goaltender duel there. Both guys made huge saves in the third period. And then, you get into overtime, and oftentimes it's the team that shoots last wins. And that's kind of what happened on that day. But again, 3 out of 6 points, not too bad, and something we're looking to improve on here for this weekend.
So interesting to hear head coach Ryan Olahan's take on that Niagara game, coming down to a goaltending matchup, and Vladislav Yermolenko was was the second star of that game. He was also one of the players of the week as well, I believe. So it really felt like they stole a point from the North Bay Battalion in that contest.
Well, yeah, North Bay could have gone the other way for sure and wouldn't have gone in overtime. Battalion had several chances to take a 2-1 lead in the third period, but it was back and forth in that third period. Niagara really controlled it in a short overtime, but yeah, I mean, Jack Lisson came in, he played well, but Yermolenko was really, I thought he was the number 1 star of the game because he really helped change the result for the Ice Dogs for sure.
Riley Patterson got the first star of the game award that day. He scored the overtime winner. But yeah, when your goaltender makes those 26 saves, and a lot of them were high danger scoring chance saves, he probably does deserve first star of the game honors. But that's a tradition that maybe needs an overhaul, the 3 stars of the game. But anyway,
I hate overtime 3-on-3, and I dislike the shootout. I wish they could do it another way. I don't think it shows anything. We could have won in overtime, and then the Niagara coach would have said, "Oh, we could have got 2 points tonight." But
yeah.
But I like the way that we played that game. I think there was a lot of good takeaways from it. Good playoff style, defensive-oriented hockey, especially after a big loss against Brantford the previous game. So just doing things the right way. And Niagara as a team, they've won 2 in a row now. So you don't want them to close the gap on North Bay, but they've got. They've won 2 in a row, and they're a good team. They have good players, good pieces. They just haven't been able to get it together the way they were expected to. I think they're kind of a big disappointment this season, but there's still time for them to turn it around. It's interesting what the Ice Dogs will do at the trade deadline. We haven't had a chance to talk about the trade deadline, but it's rapidly approaching. So a good road point for the Battalion. I'm not going to get too caught up whether we should add 2 or not, but it's that sort of circus like overtime thing for entertainment purposes only, and it's not reflective of playoff hockey. I think North Bay's built for playoff hockey. What I've seen over the last month, the way they played when they're playing at their best, it resembles Battalion playoff hockey, and I'm happy to see that.
There was a controversial moment in that game, though, Bob.
There was. So it was 1-0 when Kevin, he thought he scored a goal. There was a play where he was going right for the net, and the Battalion challenged that there was goaltender interference. There looked like a little contact between the Ice Dogs player and Jack Lisson, not a lot. And so the Battalion challenged. They won the challenge on goaltender interference. And they panned over to the Ice Dogs bench, and of course, he couldn't believe the call by the officials. So a few minutes later, he scores again. So after he scores, he was just giving it to the officials on the play. And this went on for a few seconds. And he didn't get an additional penalty at all. But later, they talked about it at the end of the period. Andre Gruger was the ref who made that call. So I'm just into what you guys think about how much should a player be allowed to express to an official without just going over the edge, because it looked from my point of view that, the official there took a lot.
And I'll preface this by saying I've always loved watching Kevin He. I think he's an awesome player, and he's been a pleasure to watch through his OHL career. But I did think it might have been over the line in some of the things that, I'm not a lip reader, but I think we could see some of the things that he was saying. And, I think on those kinds of plays, it's up to the official's discretion how much abuse they're going to take. And maybe that was an acknowledgement from the official that maybe they didn't agree with the call being overturned. Who knows? But you kind of have to draw the line somewhere. And if Kevin He wasn't towing the line, he was certainly at least had a 1 foot over it. But yeah, there was no discipline on that play, which I did find surprising.
I think that's something the coach should have got into with the referee and not the player. And I believe when you talk about discipline, what are you exactly saying?
At least probably a penalty, unsportsmanlike.
Okay,
right?
him.
Because we've seen that before, right?
Well, we saw it Thursday night with Shamar Moses, right?
That's right.
Late in the game, right?
He took the slashing call and then got 10 afterwards.
Said something he shouldn't have said, and the referee didn't like it.
It wasn't a long tirade like Kevin He, though. It was something
it
quick
wasn't.
that hardly anyone noticed except the ref, and so Shamar is gone. But it's a discipline issue, I think, on the Ice Dogs bench, which has been an issue for a few seasons now, that I believe the coach should have taken over that situation and told Kevin He to get your seat on the bench. Mm-hmm. That's just not acceptable to me, and the coach should be all over that. No doubt about Kevin. He's going to be a good pro player at some level one day, but that conduct is unbecoming of a leader in this league.
Absolutely. Moving on, the Battalion were already dealing with a couple of injuries going into this weekend, and now after this weekend, a couple more guys banged up who might be out of the lineup for a little bit. They could be missing Cronin, Callie, Warren, and Enright. Bob, you had a chance to ask Coach Houlihan about those players and getting their recovery time in over the break. So let's hear that clip now. Producer Gerald, play that one for us.
I got to ask you, you mentioned the injuries to Enright and Warren. How does that impact your pre-Christmas schedule in the sense that you only have 4 games left before Christmas? And is it more important for those guys to get their rest because you get that extra 10 days, or if they're ready to go, do you play them? How do you sort of go through that process as a coach?
Well, right now it's so fresh that they're going through their protocols and things that they need to do with doctors and trainers. So way too early to even tell. There's 2 weeks kind of left here, so we'll see where it goes. Hopeful that maybe we do get somebody who has been out for a little bit. I don't want to jinx it because he does need to get through some good practices this week, but that would be Arseny Cronin. He's real close. He's looked great in practice, so we're hoping that he can add to the lineup here this weekend. But yeah, those are things that, you kind of go day to day. It's so fresh coming back from the weekend here. They do their thing with doctors and trainers, and then we'll go from there.
In terms of the positives, though, I know you want your team healthy, but you're putting guys in positions, maybe more ice time, maybe more starts. Is that something that helps you down the road, knowing they're getting that experience maybe a bit earlier than planned?
Oh, no doubt. That can be a secret weapon. When you go through these things, when you go through injuries, and then all of a sudden your team becomes extremely healthy in the second half, but then you have all your players that are used to playing in significant roles and minutes, and you feel comfortable. Like when we were on the road there in Niagara, I was pretty comfortable with pretty much everybody in our lineup there, and that's huge to be able to do that. Now when guys get healthy and all the cylinders are kind of rolling as one, it'll be a pretty interesting group, with depth and pace and speed and all those types of things that we want to have rolling at the same time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a tough weekend for the Battalion. They lose 2 guys in the Brantford game. Aaron Enright got involved with one of the Bulldogs players, and there was stuff away from the camera, put it that way. It's the best way to, so not a lot of people saw it. Looked like a wrestling match on the ice, and then Cam Warren, he took a hit and around the blue line, and didn't look like he was injured, but I don't think he returned or didn't play much the rest of the game, didn't play Sunday. And remember, they went with 11-7 all weekend, right? So it was a tough adjustment to their lineup on Sunday, missing those 2 guys. And but it's just something you deal with in a long season. And fortunately, they're getting that break after about 2 weeks, and they'll get that 10 days off. So hopefully guys can get better over the break and come back ready to go. But it doesn't look like Callie's going to be playing this week. He was, but Pronin may be in the lineup this week. He was skating. He was going pretty hard in the practice I saw today. So hopefully we'll get some good news on that this week.
Yeah, you might find yourself with 11 forwards and 7D again, which is good news for players like Carmanov or Kunapaski, which will get into the lineup. And it's next man up. It always has been with this team. So I think Ryan has some good depth in the forwards. Jax Pereira stepped in nicely. And he's got a few others, like Kipfer could step up. And on defense, I think we're good with 7 with Kunapaski and Karmarov. So just next man up. It'll be all right.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Make sure you check out the Battalion's social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. If you want to be a part of the show, you can send your comments and questions to us at troopstrio@battalionhockey.com. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you'll be the first to know every time there's a new episode. After the break, we'll have Lirim Amidovski join us right here on Troops Trio. This is the Sports Illustrated Tickets Battalion defining moment of the week. From big plays on the ice to the fans in the stands who make every game special, Sports Illustrated Tickets gets you closer to the moments that matter with seats to sports, concerts, and theater events around the globe. Visit sitickets.com or download the app today.
I don't think the team...
Beamish in front and stopped by Jack Lisson. Jordan backs in front, got good wood on it, and read perfectly by that.
That was good posturing and positioning.
Sports Illustrated Tickets, the official partner of the North Bay Battalion and the Troops Trio podcast. Welcome back. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Moose Cookhouse, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight. And we are so pleased to be joined by Lirim Amidovski. Lirim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our second time having you on the podcast. If you missed that episode, you can go back in the archives and watch it on YouTube. That was the episode where we were actually inside the locker room, one of the most unique venues we podcasted from, I think. But Lirim, since that time, you guys have welcomed in a couple new faces to the team. Tell me what your role is as a leader in new guys coming in and how you try to welcome them in and get them accustomed to their first couple of days and weeks being a part of the North Bay Battalion?
You kind of just show them how we do stuff around North Bay in the room, whatever. Also try to get them comfortable with everyone on the team, I guess. I think we do stuff a little bit different compared to other teams, like our schedule, how hard we work out, how hard we practice. So kind of just set an example for them to see how we do everything, basically, and then just getting them comfortable with the routine and practices and everything like that.
How difficult is the system? Because, like you say, every team is different, right, in terms of what the coaches want in terms of practice, and I assume that what you work on in practice is how they want you to play during games. So how difficult for a new guy, the two new players we're talking about, to sort of learn the system, in a moving season like this?
I think it's a little bit tough, but Uli has changed the practices a little bit to have more system stuff like drills and everything. So I think it's a little bit hard, but once you do it a lot, it kind of just comes instinct for you. So if you're a good hockey player, you can make reads if you mess up like some system in the game, but it does become instinct after a couple weeks.
One thing that Team Canada has just selected, right, the World Juniors, and I just want to say that they're going for players on this roster. It's not an all-star team, they were saying. It's players like this guy that will play between the dots, crash the net, win battles. And I just want to say, since you came here, when you were in your first year, you were just sort of showing your stuff, and now you've just emerged into a real dominant force. And I joke on the broadcast, like if there was a stat of the number of times a player crashes the net and knocks the net off the moorings, you'd probably be at the top of the league. And so tell me about that mentality that you have that makes you just want to go through people instead of taking the easier route and trying to go around them.
I feel like I've always been like that. I think coaches, when I was younger, just installed that in my brain, just playing straight lines, go, if you have the puck, just try to go right around guys to the net. So I think I've always played like that, but you kind of just need to be fearless. I think some guys, when you're younger, you're kind of afraid of contact, but I feel, like I said, coaches have installed that fearless kind of mindset in me, so I think I've always been like that.
When you play that way, do you end the game with more bumps and bruises than the next guy, or does it not hurt as much as it looks like it might hurt on TV?
You definitely feel it after the game. I think adrenaline during the game, you don't really feel it, but I don't really know compared to other guys, but you definitely feel a little bit after the game.
Okay, so there are wounds that he's got to take care of after the game. It's not just a walk in the park for Lirim Amidovski.
Family stuff is really good with you because your brother, of course, plays for Ottawa. And I got a couple of questions. First of all, he's going to the Prospects game. You were at the Prospects game last year, so there's got to be a lot of family pride knowing that with your parents and your whole family, that both of you are getting a chance to play in that elite game. I know, you put on you were very impressive in that game. So, what are the conversations like in your family right now with what your brother's going to go through and what you've already gone through?
Kind of just, also my dad played, so he kind of knows all about it. So he kind of wants me to kind of be a mentor, teach my brother about what you have to do to basically be successful. And I know hopefully he doesn't do as good as me in the game. I know a lot of conversations are very competitive, so I always want to do better than him. He always wants to do better than me, so.
So what's Thanksgiving and Christmas like at the Amadovski house if aunts and uncles are coming over and they're talking about your brother's highlights instead of your highlights?
That doesn't bug me too much, but everything is pretty competitive.
Yeah.
I think all my family's kind of nice and not really comparing each other, but it does get pretty competitive, even outside of sports.
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know, checkers
playing
game
cards
we're playing or
yeah.
whatever, but it's a pretty competitive household. So.
Right on.
And the other point with Ottawa, I mean, there's a big rivalry between the teams. You know, in terms of the head-to-head matchups. Just had one recently. I think not that far after the new year. You guys play at the Bort Longier Memorial Gardens again. So, what are those games like? Will you text your brother that week to say, "Hey, we got a big game coming up"? Do you ignore him? Like, what's the family dynamic like?
To be honest, I don't really talk to him the first week before the game. I think I kind of just go in without talking to him and then kind of play like he's any other opponent. I don't really treat him like my brother, but it is pretty cool being able to be in games with him. That's something we've dreamed about, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, you know, when you play the way you do, you've had a few different line mates, but do you take on a responsibility of just trying to create time and space for your line mates out there? Because I feel like when you charge the net, you really back the defense off.
Yeah, I think we kind of just play off each other. I think once you play a couple games with, obviously if it's a new line, you have to get used to the new guys, but I kind of just play how I always play with everyone, so I guess if someone's more skilled hands guy, it would be better to play with me if I'm traveling guys so they have more space. But everyone's good in this league, so kind of just play your game. Don't really try to change for depending on who's on your line, but you kind of just use your skill and play how you always do.
You know, on the third game of the weekend in St. Catharines against Niagara, manpower issues like Bobby was talking about. So as a forward, you're down to, at that point, losing a couple of key guys, one up front, one on the forward lines. Does it make it tiring for you? Do you actually feel it when you're shorthanded up front as the forward set?
You do. It was a road trip that weekend, so you kind of feel it anyway, but you kind of like having more ice time, obviously. But once you get your legs into the game, you kind of just get in a rhythm, and you don't really feel it, I'd say, after the first couple shifts. So you kind of feel it a little bit, but once you get into the game, you're fine.
I'm going to ask you, the 3-on-3, what do you prefer, playoff overtime or 3-on-3 overtime? As a player, what do you enjoy more being in?
Obviously, 3-on-3 overtime is pretty fun, but for me, I'd rather play 5-on-5. I think the stakes are a little too high in overtime to have 3-on-3. If you make one mistake, guy has a breakaway or whatever it is, but I'd rather play 5-on-5.
I think we're going to see some good OT this year with this team.
You went to the Minnesota camp. You put on a good show. Those are the reports. What's the communication like during the year with the Minnesota organization? Maybe just take the fans through how that works for a player.
So we text every week. We have like a check-in, couple questions. How do you think you're doing? What do you think you have to improve on that week? They also come to games. I've seen them 4 times, I think, so far. So there's a lot of communication. I think they're good on that part. But I haven't had someone come to practices. So Ethan Precision had a guy from Anaheim come today. I think that's going to happen soon. They haven't said anything yet, but there is a lot of communication, kind of telling you what they think you have to work on, and yeah, the communication's pretty high.
What do you think you have to work on?
Recently, maybe putting the puck in the net more.
But you are leading the team in that category, so can't be doing too bad.
Yeah, I think the amount of chances I've had, which is a lot, I think that could be something I'd want to do more. Obviously, everyone wants to score more goals, but that would be definitely a big change I would make.
You know, there's a guy here who played a couple of years ago, Luke Moncada, who one year he really was snake bitten. So much to a point where he had like a breakaway and beat the goaltender, wide open net, and then still missed putting the puck in the net. And you know, it was just one of those years where he felt snake bitten. The next year he came back and scored 40 goals. So you know, it happens, right? Some guys, like you say, you're getting lots of chances. You are putting the puck in the net, but sometimes it just comes in waves, right? Yeah. So you see that at this level of hockey. So
I feel like this team, there's a sense that we haven't seen there's the October version of this team, and then there's going to be the January version of this team, and hopefully everyone back and healthy and contributing. And I think once you get into that rhythm of having 12 forwards, the same line mates, and guys playing the way they should be, which we're starting to see more of in the past 30 days, let's say, past 7 or 8 games, I think there's going to be offensive opportunities for a lot of players. And you see Wellenreiter, Procession, and the numbers start coming for Parker Vaughan and yourself. Obviously, you're getting points. It weighs heavily at times if you're not getting offense. But when they say you just got to work through it, work hard and practice, what does that mean to you?
That's kind of like just sticking to what you've been doing. If you had success shooting a lot in previous seasons, then keep doing that. If you had success kind of holding on to the puck more, then keep doing that. It's kind of just keep doing what has brought you success before. I think coaches always say that you got to the OHL or you got to pro hockey, wherever you are, you got there because of stuff you've done before. So it's kind of just keep doing what you've been doing.
I've never thought your offense has been an issue. Like we have to have a disruptor out there. And Ammo is the disruptor. If you don't have a disruptor in the playoffs, you're not going to go very far. Yeah, you're going to get run over.
We ask this about every player we talk to on the longer version interviews. You're an exciting player to watch, right? Everyone just, when you're on one of your runs to the net, everyone goes, oh, what's he going to do here? But who was the guy growing up that sort of was the, a tractable player for you? I want to play like him. Was there a role model? Was it several players?
To be honest, my favorite players weren't really kind of similar to me. They're more skill guys. I think I kind of I don't even know how I built my game like this. I know my brother is pretty opposite kind of me, so there wasn't really a player I watched that was similar or I kind of modeled my game after.
Interesting.
But who did you like? Who when you sat down and watched those hockey games? Who were you looking for?
I was a Leafs fan, so Marner. I really like Marner, but Marner, Matthews, Crosby. Obviously, growing up, Crosby was really good. So yeah, those three.
But
you play like a Cam Neely.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a Zach Hyman kind of like that's what I think of when you're mucking it up in behind the net, and it's like a yard sale out there of sticks and gloves, and the net's off its moorings, and the goalie doesn't know where he is, and Ammo's been there, but like a Zach Hyman kind of thing, I think. That's
a good comparison for sure. All right, Lirim, we thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to have you as always.
Thank you for having me.
Again sometime soon. Lirim Amidovski, everybody. So awesome to have Lirim Amidovski on the show. As we continue along here, we can do our Troops Trio Trivia question. Last week's question was who scored last year's Teddy Bear toss goal? And that ended up being Andrew LeBlanc, and Nicholas Forsyth got the correct answer, so he got to win a Battalion prize pack. And this week, the question is, name the Troops player who scored back-to-back Teddy Bear toss goals. So in back-to-back years, there was one player who scored both Teddy Bear toss goals. Use the hashtag Troops Trio in the comments section, and the first correct answer will win a Lirim Amidovski signed puck. So a pretty great prize up for grabs with our Troops Trio trivia question. I'm getting so good at saying that now. All right. Speaking of Teddy Bear toss goals, AJ's here, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right.
We're back at it another Tuesday. You're not going to clap for me? Thank you. Oh, no, I wasn't talking to you guys. I was talking to Ranjan.
The sign
The cue to go. You guys good or what?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
I got my tea here, and Bobby was...
I don't believe that's tea.
Bobby was tea-shaming me.
Oh, maybe. Maybe tea.
Felt I was at Wimbledon when that tea came across there.
Fox and the Fiddle, come get some tea.
You guys,
New tagline.
Talk
you
very
guys want to
quietly.
start with a fan question first
Yeah,
before we
of
get
course,
underway?
Yeah.
Why not?
Now, this question came from Mark from North Bay. Dom, he was called up from the Winnipeg Jets there 2 nights ago. And Mark wants to know what your thoughts are and if you think he's going to stay with the big boys.
Well, for me, I think, they want to obviously reward a player who has played well. I heard the other day he was outstanding the last 5 games or so. And, they've got some goaltending issues in Winnipeg for sure. I mean, Hellebuck's out. Comrie, the usual backup, is playing a lot. The fellow they had in there has been struggling. So Dom will be backing up Comrie tonight when they play Dallas. But I don't think they're bringing him up just to sit on the bench. I think he's going to get a game, at least a game. So I think it's a great chance for him to just, and his family more than anything else, and his friends, they'll be in attendance, I would assume, just to experience and just the pride that goes on when these kids become men and play in the NHL. I think it's a great opportunity, and the Devincentis family must be on cloud 9, and hopefully Dom will get to play later this week.
Yeah, for me, I think this is the best case scenario for Dom. Having to play behind a guy like Connor Hellebuck, who signed that long-term extension a couple years ago. You're probably not going to get a better chance than this to prove that you're a number 1 guy. And so for Dom, this gives him a chance to prove that he is. And then, maybe he's used as trade bait down the line because, the Jets are I don't want to say stuck with Hellebuck, but when you give a guy that much money, he is going to be your number 1 guy. So I think for Dom, this is a chance to showcase himself to the team and to the league what he can do.
It's not Dom's time right now, but he gets a lot of benefit from being up in the big club, traveling with the big club, practicing. It's a key role to be practicing with a team that's trying to turn their season around before it gets, they fall too far out of position. Things haven't been going great for Winnipeg. But, for him, it's a great opportunity to sit on the bench and just take it all in. And Comrie is a guy who he can learn from. Right, a different viewpoint, and you can watch how those. Dom's thing has always been his preparation, and now he can really put it to the test. This isn't. I don't think this is an audition for anything greater than a substitute role. When Hellebuck comes back, Comrie will be number 2, and he'll maybe be the number 1 guy in the AHL, which would be a really good accomplishment for him. But for now, just take the lessons. Don't get too wrapped up in how big the moment is. If he does get some action between the pipes, I'm not sure what their schedule looks like. If they have a back-to-back or something where it might be an opportunity for him to get in, but I don't think
they play 3 games this week from now till Saturday. So
yeah, so there may be a chance if the organization doesn't want to put him out there and destroy his confidence, right? So we'll see what happens.
What's really fun though about these situations is the team gives the player advance notice so the family, especially the parents, can make the trip for his first game. So
and then they get to fly to Winnipeg.
Yeah. Well, hey,
there's a holiday trip.
I know Dom's dad, and he's always there for Dom. The mom is too, and always there when they was with the battalion. So it's just, for me, it's about the family, and it's about all the sacrifices they've made for him, and just what a prideful moment it's going to be for them if Dom's playing in an NHL game, and that could happen as early as Thursday. Could happen tonight. Who knows?
It's pride for them, of course, but it's also for the fan base to see one of our own who we sort of, from a young age, groomed him and went through the ups and downs with him throughout his career, and he was a stellar goaltender for us, one of the best perhaps that we've ever had. And to see him move to that level, I think the whole city of North Bay gets a real charge and would be tuning into that game if we knew he was going to be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they say, anything along the lines on the broadcast of nice save by Devincentis, he applied his trade in North Bay with the battalion, right? There's a
that's true,
hey, that's
yeah.
where we're
Exactly.
from. That's
And you were right, Wrench. And you know what? He's only 21. For a goalie, that is
That's
young. That is
very
like
young.
nowadays, you're looking at 25, 26,
Before you
27
make
before
your
goalie.
debut,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's not like the old days where you got drafted by a team and you played for them for Carey Price, Patrick Waugh
Yeah,
kind of
that's
days,
right.
Ed Balfour. If you go through the list, these guys all played for young and then they played for a long time. So when you got drafted by that team, you're like, oh great, Carey Price is the lead goalie, and you got drafted by Montreal. You're kind of, oh, okay, when am I going to play?
Best,
Joe
best
Verbeek
case,
is a guy, right? Drafted
Exactly.
from Montreal and was like, okay, well now I'm playing behind Carey Price. So
best case scenario might be if he gets called in the third period. Let's say Comrie taken out after 2, gets a period in, not a lot of expectations. Maybe they're being blown out or something like that, and he gets some ice time that way.
get some ice time, get some confidence. All right, we want to thank Mark for sending in that question. Again, you can send your questions to us at troopstrio@battalionhockey.com. All right, AJ, what else you got?
Well, Thursday, game day. Obviously, it's Brampton Steelheads are in town, and it's Souls for Goals night presented by Bioped. Fans are encouraged to bring gently used shoes. You can bring boots, whatever you can put. Yeah, cleats. I was reading your article today, and 2 years ago they collected 12,000 shoes in North Bay. So the best, I guess, that was the double than any other store in Canada. So we're looking to get some shoes for this game. And the best thing is you bring your shoes, you drop them off at the Bioped booth, and then a lucky fan is going to have a chance to win $1,000 guaranteed. So bring some shoes, win some money.
I'm not a paid spokesperson for Bioped, but they do unbelievable work. So, I'm a person that has had foot issues,
Thanks,
and
Bob.
they're doing unbelievable work and making everything comfortable when you put your shoes on. So, and obviously they're giving back and helping out kids who really need the support. And so, if you can bring some shoes you don't use anymore, bring them to the Gardens on Thursday night.
Exactly. And then this weekend we're on the road. Saturday, 7 o'clock in Erie, and then Sunday, 2 o'clock we're in Niagara. Both those games will be on your TV. And then, of course, can't forget, we talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it again next week. Teddy bear toss. So go get your Brixley Bear at the Brick. They're only $20, going to a great cause, and we'll be throwing them on the ice next Thursday night. And then one more thing before we go. I know
Where do you get those bears from? You have to go to the Brick.
You go to the Brick, but you can go to any store and buy a bear. But we encourage people to go to the Brick because it goes to the Santa Fund, and there's numerous charities that money actually goes to. So either way, if you donate a bear, it's good.
If you show up at the game without a bear, can you get a bear at the game?
I know in the past, yes, if they're available. Because I know in the previous years, the Brickley did sell out. So apparently I was just told we're going to have 500.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
Thanks, Owen.
Fast.
They got them. Yeah, that was a quick
All right, that was good. I look at the corner of my eye, I could hear people yelling at me.
Breaking news.
That's
Breaking news. And then, I don't know, you guys didn't talk about this yet, but Battalion forward Ryder Callie, he was selected today to represent the Eastern Conference at the Connor McDavid OHL Top Prospects game coming up on January 14th in Peterborough. So that's,
that is really cool.
yeah, for sure. So
And also Academic Player of the Month, Ryder Callie.
smart, good hockey player.
and a good hockey player. That's
That,
The kid's
we
going
can't,
places,
you were going to
right?
say that's rare. I know that you were going to say
I was
that.
not gonna.
Because I felt that. I saw the boys
that
over here
word.
just looking there waiting for it. I could see it. Yeah.
Now, I understand you're like a TV star now. Is that right?
Yeah, Tuesdays, catch me on Kojiko.
What are you doing?
I am the
news.
community tracker. So what I do is basically same as here, but a little bit more extended with Clark, and I let the fans know it's more of promotional stuff, marketing stuff. I don't talk hockey. I leave that up to you guys. I just let people know what's happening
Probably a
at the
good
rink.
choice.
Yes. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But we're glad to talk about us.
Well, I'm not anymore, not
Okay,
after that
well,
comment,
yeah,
but
after that,
you know,
that's warranted.
half my job is to be your hype man, so yeah.
That's very good.
I think that's it though.
What time's your show on?
Us up.
Oh, it's what time's the news? Is at 5, so I think it's just before the weather. So that's around
should let you do the
5:15. It's cold. That would be what I'll say.
Sure is,
Tonight it's
yeah.
going to be cold. Tomorrow it's going to be cold. And weekend,
But
colder.
inside the gardens, it's going to be hot.
That's
for
right.
Teddy bear toss night.
Exactly.
There you go. I wrote the whole promo.
Perfect.
All right. AJ Jakeman, everybody. All right, let's go to a break. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Moose Cookhouse, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight. After the break, it's Coffee with the Coach with Ryan Olhan right here on Troops Trio.
Here's a chance. They score! Oh my goodness gracious! They score! What a beauty there! One-time shot. He scores! Absolute threat. Richard scores! Floats it up, shot. Right for line, he scores!
Welcome back to Troops Trio. Make sure you check out the Battalion social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. And don't forget, you can send your comments and questions to us at troopstrio@battalionhockey.com. All right, it's been an action-packed episode so far. We've got lots more on the way. Bob, you had a chance to catch up with head coach Ryan Olahan, and it's in your usual Coffee with the Coach segment. And there was a pretty big talking point going into last weekend and certainly carrying over into this weekend. The fact that the tallest hockey player to ever lace them up is a member of the North Bay Battalion. He made his debut with North Bay earlier this week, and Bobby had a chance to catch up and get Ryan Olahan's thoughts on Alexander Carmanov.
Yeah, let's, producer Gerald, do your stuff. I got to ask you about Alexander Carmanov. You know, people were interested in seeing him play, obviously, last Thursday. He also played on Sunday. Usually there's a get acquainted part when you begin your OHL career, but I didn't notice that. He looked like a guy who had played 10, 15, 20, 30 games, half a season almost, and he stepped right in terms of his offensive ability, his physical play, his positional play. I was really impressed with how he just adapted to the OHL game right away.
And same goes for us. I mean, you can tell the hockey sense and the brain that he has, and then I think that's why, you know, the acceleration in terms of our minds and getting him into some games here is because his pace is where it needs to be in practice. I think the only thing is just learning a little bit of the do's and don'ts within our system. That's going to be easily fixed for us, you know, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, there's some sneaky. He doesn't overdo things. He keeps it very simple. He gets pucks to the net. He gets pucks out. Kind of clears areas. And I envision him with another really good week of practice here to even see a little bit more improvement this weekend. So thrilled to have him in our lineup, and he's just been such an incredible kid too behind the scenes, and somebody that we're all getting to know and loving already.
Well, fun to watch, a fun guy to watch, and we'll follow his story throughout the year. Thanks for this, and have a great week.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Yeah, that was earlier today, and it's always good if the coach agrees with your comment, but it's true. He didn't look like a player who hadn't played an OHL game before last Thursday. You know, I'm sure the fans at the Boardlong and Memorial Gardens are talking about the hit at center ice he made, but he's got a shot. He moved well with the puck, I thought. And then he also played Sunday and didn't look out of place there in his first road game, too. And sometimes it's tough to play on the road. It's just a different atmosphere. And so they got to be so impressed with his first two OHL games.
Yeah, there was nothing glaring. There are no glaring problems with his game. He's a 17-year-old coming out of Tier 2, stepping into the OHL. So there's a timeline for his development and progression, and it probably spans into this year, the rest of this year and next year. And they're doing a good job with him. There's 7 D-men and 8 when you include Enright. So hopefully Enright's return to action will be sooner than later. So looking for opportunities to get Kunapaski and Carmanov into the lineup. But he's an intriguing asset because he's big and he can move. and there's no glaring deficiencies in his game. What you look at is decision making, and like you said, it's tougher on the road when the other team gets last change and they put out their top line and they're trying to exploit a big man like Carmanov, not Carmanov, I think. Both ways. Makarov.
He's good either one.
Yeah,
so.
that's right.
So I like how Ryan Houlihan and Bill Holder are working with him and developing him.
And he's what I've observed the last couple of weeks is he works really hard in practice.
Yes.
Good reviews so far.
Yeah, I mean, if Bill Holder is going to be coaching you, better believe that you're going to be working hard in practice. That's for sure. The North Bay Battalion have 3 games coming up this weekend, starting off with a game on Thursday at home against the Brampton Steelheads. And Bob, you had a chance to catch up with their head coach and general manager, James Richmond. He's a guy that's had a couple of different jobs around the league, and he's been around the league for a long time and always gracious with his time. So great that he's going to join us on the Troops Trio podcast. So producer Gerald, let's hear from James Richmond.
Okay, welcome back to Troops Trio with the head coach of the Brampton team, James Richmond. James, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about the rivalry, first of all, between the Battalion and the Steelheads. You guys have played once this year. Of course, you're in the Battalion old home. You've moved to Brampton, where the Battalion used to be. Of course, Battalion in North Bay now. So it's a very unique rivalry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same division, and a little bit of cross paths there. And obviously for me, my dad and everybody's from North Bay, so it's always, for me, it's great to come back or come up to North Bay and get to look around, walk around the city a little bit. So it's great.
Let's talk about the previous matchup you held this year in Brampton. You guys got the 2 points. So what did you learn about the Battalion from that game?
Well, obviously they're well coached. They played a real structured game. They got some really high-end kids that can put the puck in the net. And they play really fast. They've got a real good pace to their game. So it's always a tough game when we play against North Bay. So we've got to try to keep doing the same thing, try to get in their way and take away their speed, take away their time and space, like everybody says, and limit their scoring chances.
And what about your team this year? Where are you in terms of your goals? Or I know it's been a challenging start, but what are sort of the 3 or 4 things maybe that you want your team to get a handle on as the season moves along?
Well, first, I'm very proud of my guys. All the experts picked us to be 20th in the league, and our guys come to the rink every day in a good mood with a good attitude, and they're ready to work. And I would say that 95% of our games this year, that's what we've done. We've worked really hard and make sure that the other team knows that they're in a hockey game. So we're not going to make it easy for the other team. We're not going to lay down and just have people run over top of us because we lost so many guys. It is what it is, and our guys have really stepped up to the challenge, and I love coming to the rink with these guys every day.
Jakob Vibiger, one of your top players. What do you like about his game?
So Fibby's been great all year. He's a Seattle draft pick. He's going to the World Juniors, so he won't be making the North trip with us this time. But his skating and his strength is really, really off the charts. He defends very well through the neutral zone. He creates a lot of offense for us when he transitions the puck up ice. So he's had a super year so far this year, and we look forward to having him back after the World Juniors, but we look forward to watching him with the Czech team.
This time of year when guys go away for the World Juniors, I'm just interested in how coaches like yourself have to deal with that in terms of I guess it gives other players opportunities, but how do you sort of not upset the apple cart because they leave and then other guys have to step up and they come back and they're in a regular role? How do you meet that challenge?
Well, like you said there, Bob, like it's a great opportunity for some of the younger guys that haven't been in the lineup or guys that haven't been getting as many minutes. Now they're going to get that opportunity. Obviously, you're going to miss a player that leaves for the World Juniors. I think last year we had 5 that left. 3 for Canada and 2 for the Czechs. So that was really challenging. So I guess we're lucky that we're only losing 1 this year, but it's a great opportunity for them and for us as coaches. Those guys that are stepping into those roles have been with us and have been practicing. So now it's just kind of okay. Now you go have some fun in the game and execute and know that you're gonna make some mistakes out on the ice. Don't worry about it. We'll fix them after the period or after the game and just keep moving forward.
Okay, now what's it going to take for you guys to leave here Thursday night with a couple of points?
Well, it'd be nice if some of those players on their team didn't play very well, so that maybe I could talk to their coach. But no, we're gonna have to get on top of pucks in a hurry. We're gonna have to disrupt their play up the ice. They like to attack really quick off the transition, so we're gonna have to make sure that we're taking away their outlet passes and forcing them into spots where they don't want to be.
Okay, thanks for this, James, and safe travel.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to it. All the best.
So great to have James Richmond join us on the podcast. He's always been very gracious with his time. I remember even going back to being a first-year guy covering this league. He's always been good to us here at North Bay. And so looking forward to seeing Brampton come into to North Bay this week.
His father lives in North Bay, so again, a North Bay connection with James Richmond. Now, it's a different team in Brampton this year. A lot of the experts were saying that they're going to be at the lower end of the scale, but they're outperforming those expectations at this point. And last year they had 5 players at the World Juniors for various countries. This year they have 1, Fibiger, and so he won't be playing Thursday night because of the World Junior commitment. So it's a different team in Brampton, but it's a divisional rivalry, and and those points really get thrown out the window when it's a divisional game. So it'll be interesting what type of game we have on Thursday night.
I don't think there's a team in the OHL that was affected as much by the change in the NCAA rules than the Steelheads. And when you look at Team Canada's roster, there is Steelhead content on there with Porter Martone and Ivan Kovic playing, and so it's been tough for them. But like you said, I think saying they're going to bottom out in this league was probably a bit of a stretch, but it's been tough, and they have to rebuild basically a year ahead of when they were planning to rebuild. So credit to James Richmond for getting that done. And it is true. He does love North Bay. He enjoys his visits up here. I had a chance to talk to him about that in the past, and he's like a North Bay boy who really likes coming back here, even despite the rivalry.
Yeah, it'll be fun Thursday night, and I think an important 2 points, fellas, for North Bay. That's not a fun road trip. Erie's a long trip. And then, again, the short break to play Niagara on Sunday afternoon. So that's an important 2 points for the Battalion, their second last home game before Christmas.
Yeah, it's really strange to have 2 road games, 2 Sundays on the road in the same building against the Ice Dogs.
Yeah,
and 3 straight weekends on the road, too.
North Bay, that traditionally plays on Sundays at home, haven't done that a whole lot in this first half of the season, have they?
Well, it's top heavy.
Yeah.
That the second half of the year, and that's the way they like it. Second half of the year, they like the home afternoon matinees, but 3 straight weekends on the road. That's a lot, and some more bus legs for the players and coaches this weekend.
But it all starts with a home date against their division rivals in the Brampton Steelheads. Just a couple of points separating them right now in the standings. So a big game coming up at Boart Longyear Memorial Gardens. All right, that's going to wrap up today's show. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, the Moose Cookhouse, and a huge thank you to the Fox and Fiddle for hosting us tonight. Make sure you check out the Battalion's social media channels to find out where Troops Trio will be next. We want to thank Lirim Amidovski, Ryan Olahan, and James Richmond for taking the time to do those interviews. We want to thank our camera operators, Cassidy and Marley, our show coordinator, Owen, our producer, Gerald, our hype man, AJ Jakeman, and executive producer, Steve Batante. For Bob Coles and Ranjan Rupal, I'm Matt Sookram, and this has been Troops Trio.